Alright, for this video, we're going to go over the problems. These are actually the toughest problems in this section, and it's where we have to draw right triangles, and we're going to have to draw two right triangles because we're dealing with two angles. We're dealing with angle A and angle B. One of the things that I forgot to put on the handout, these are always going to be given to you. Angle A and B, I'm always going to give to you what quadrant it's in, and in this case, in quadrant 3, and it kind of makes sense because we have negatives for both the trig values, negative 7/25 and negative 4/5. So we're just going to do number one. We're going to find cosine of the sum of angle A and B. Now if I use the formula, and again, if you use the sum formula, you will be given this formula. This formula is cosine of A times the cosine of B. Now cosine, we always do the opposite, so if this is plus, then we do minus sine of A times the sine of B. Now if you look, we have this value, we have cosine of B, which is this, and we have sine of A, which is this value. So the two things that we need to find this in red, cosine of A and sine of B. Now the only way to find those pieces of information that are highlighted in the red is we have to draw two right triangles, and we have to draw both of them in the third quadrant. Let's see here. I'm going to draw this third quadrant. I'm going to make coordinate plane here. So this, I'm going to draw this, whoops, going to be coming down from the origin. So that's 90 degree. I'm going to say this is angle A. I'm going to draw another one over here. I'm going to make it in the third quadrant. And I'm going to say this is angle B. Now, sine of A, if it's negative 7/25, it's like saying this is the opposite. This is the hypotenuse because it's sine, right? Using the old SOHCAHTOA. So opposite of angle A is 7, which is this. The hypotenuse is 25. Now what you have to figure out is this side. You could use Pythagorean's formula, and actually I'm going to use it like right here. So I'm going to say this is the adjacent side. So if you did this, it's like saying 7 squared plus the adjacent side squared equals 25 squared. Okay, and then if you, let's see here, if you did this, you're going to have 49 plus the adjacent side squared equals, I believe this is 625. Okay, and it is, then you subtract 49 from both sides. So you get the adjacent side squared, and 625 minus 49 is 576. And then you take the square root, and when you take the square root of that, you do get a whole number. 576 is a perfect square. That gives you 24. The adjacent side is 24. Now that's probably a Pythagorean triple that you probably didn't recognize it. I really didn't recognize it. So you have to use Pythagorean's formula. So I'm just gonna erase this. No, actually, let's do this. This is what. So I'm gonna put the adjacent side. Just cross it. I'm just gonna put 24. Now I'm gonna erase all this work that I just did. All right. I can't erase it. It's not allowing me to erase anything else. Now, if I use this, if I used A, what I could figure out is, I could figure out the cosine of A is adjacent over hypotenuse. 24 is the adjacent, 25 is the hypotenuse. Now, since it's in the third quadrant, it's negative 24 over 25. So I know this value. So I figured this out, so kind of cross it. I know what that value is. Now I have to find this sine of B. Now when I look at this triangle for angle B, this is what I'm given. Cosine of B is negative 4/5. So that means the adjacent side is 4, the hypotenuse is 5. So for B, the adjacent side is this, which is 4. The hypotenuse is this, is 5. Now this is one where you really shouldn't have to use Pythagorean's triple. You should know this Pythagorean triple is 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to say this is 3. And now the only thing I have to find is this, the sine of B. So if I do sine of B, this is opposite over hypotenuse. This is the opposite, this 3. This is the hypotenuse. So it's 3/5, but since it's in the third quadrant, it's got to be negative. All right, and then from there, I take all of these. I take this, I plug it in. I take this, plug it in. The negative 4/5 and this negative 3/5 and plug it in. So this cosine of A, I'm going to use this. I'm going to plug it in here. Now this cosine of A is, we figured out, is this, negative 24 over 25. This cosine of B, this was given to us, it's this. this negative 4 fifths. Then I have minus, then we have this, the sine of A. Sine of A was given, it's this, negative 7/25. And then we have this, the sine of B, which we figured out is this. I know it gets a little messy. So you just plug in negative 3/5. And then you just multiply. So if I multiply this, let's see, negative 24 times negative 4 gives me 96. And 25 times 5 is 125. And then this, if I multiply this, negative 7 times negative 3 is positive 21. 25 times 5 is 125. And then after you subtract, 96 minus 21 is 75. 75 over 125 reduces to 3/5. And this is probably one of the hardest problems you'll see. So you had to draw two right triangles, but then once you get the trig values for everything that's in this, the formula, you just plug them in and you just evaluate it.